Man, who knew this would be so stressful?
Hey, we got this one faster though. We got this one faster.
Oh, thank you for anybody that's watching that beginning scene. Okay, I promise it's going to get a little bit better. Uh,
Yes.
this is first time for me adding somebody to a live, so and it kept telling me that he was not able to join, and he was trying to join. So anyway, I'm not going to waste your time today talking about that. But so it's the day before Thanksgiving, and I have I have made it kind of a habit now the last few years of jumping on the day before. I think gratitude is such an important part of our lives that so many of us do not tap into, and because we're always thinking of what we need, what we desire, what we want, all those things. Sometimes we just need to slow down, and not always in November just for Thanksgiving, but we need to slow down and just really evaluate what am I really grateful for. So I've done that. I was able to do with my wife a few years ago. I was actually visiting my mom, and who was, I think, 92 at the time, and I that was a fun call. And then I had my grandson, my oldest grandson, who was 8 at the time, jumped on a call with me, which was also a lot of fun. So today I've invited my son-in-law to join me on this live during lunchtime here for a couple reasons. Wanted to talk about Turkey, wanted to talk about ministry. And so as I woke up this morning, I was just, my heart was heavy, thinking about some people that are serving. And I was thinking, man, I really want to speak and maybe breathe some life into them. So, but to get us started, we won't be a long time today, but to get us started, David, it's good to have you here. He's been our son-in-law, I don't know how many years, 7?
7.
All right, good guess. Thank
Yeah,
God I
come
knew how
on.
old Josiah was, but not only as a son-in-law, but we actually were able to serve on pastoral staff together, which was pretty cool. So, what tell me about Thanksgiving? Like, what does that look like for the Freire family?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invite. Super excited to be with you. Love what you're doing, all that you're doing in health and helping ministers. Love it. It's an honor to be talking to you today. As far as Thanksgiving goes for us, I think it's always unique for Hispanics, right? So for us, I think it looked the same in the sense that we gathered with family. We were loud. And then we never really started on time. So let's say we say start time is at 2 o'clock. We know we're starting at 4. So everybody just arrives at 4. But for us, it wasn't necessarily like the traditional foods. Like you mentioned turkey. For me, when I think of Thanksgiving, I think of ham. I think of lasagna. Weird things like that. I definitely think of pie. I think that's usual. And then we eat, we play football, we watch football, and then we all nap. Like it's something we all know. At some point, we're all gonna nap. But that's really how Thanksgiving has looked for me over the past couple of years. And then, of course, coming into the McGraw family, there's the side of that that's a little different, right? We start on time, and we're eating the custom foods.
What the pilgrims ate?
It's that's right. That's right. What the pilgrims ate.
I guess I got to change my title to ham and a pastor instead of turkey and a
That's right.
pastor. But well, so just real briefly, because this isn't really the focus of the call. But what are you grateful for today besides your father-in-law?
Yeah, that's the first one I was gonna mention. So father-in-law, and then of course, my family. I know it's a cliche thing to say, but I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my kids. Josiah, he's turning 5. Ellie is 2, and then Amelia is going to be 6 months here in December. And grateful for our family. This month we're on vacation and we're resting. And again, it stinks that sometimes we wait till November, Thanksgiving to be thankful. But I'm grateful. They're in a fun stage of life. Me and Bree, 7 years married, really loving and and we're going a million miles an hour. It feels like it's like to be in ministry. You got kids, and they're right there with us. They're at church basically all the time, and so I'm just grateful for my family, grateful for my kids and my wife.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm grateful for you guys produced some really cool babies. So we're thankful for all 3 of those, and of course you and Brianna too. But one of the treats for me was being able to serve with you. In fact, I remember the very first time you ever filled in on a Wednesday night for our pastor, and I was sitting in the back by one of the ushers. I had left the stage and went to the back, and you started speaking. I never heard you speak before, and you were really doing a really good job. And at that stage of my life, it takes a lot to impress me. So, but the usher I was sitting beside, he leans over. In his mind, he was whispering, but he spoke so loud. He said, "That boy can." speak. It was just very funny. I was like, and people turned and looked, and I'm like, okay. But I was feeling the same. But so it's been a joy to serve with you and watch you grow. And so today, it's been on my heart as we move into Christmas season. So this is the first Christmas season that I'm not on a pastoral staff. So it's really
Mm,
different in many ways. But I always remember, especially from the music standpoint, of this going into the season as being some of the craziest times of my few weeks of the year for me. So I was thinking of that pastor, and this is kind of what I want the focus in these 5 minutes to be. Is just really just that pastor that may be just struggling. That pastor that just might be, or it doesn't have to be like a senior pastor. It can be a staff pastor, a leader, a ministry leader, that just really is their cup is kind of empty the day before Thanksgiving. They're trying to be thankful, but really inside. And I had a few of those Thanksgivings myself, and so I'm thinking of that person, and I'm going to ask you just a couple quick questions here, and maybe breathe some life into somebody today. But so as the new pastor, so because you're fairly new at doing this ministry thing, I mean, you've been involved in ministry your whole life, but as far as full time, what are some things that you're learning? What's some bullet points of things that you're learning?
yeah. I've been over at New Life now 5 years on staff. Three of that was as youth pastor, and then two has been as a associate pastor. And I feel like the biggest thing I'm learning is that it can be so easy to take what you're doing for God and make it about you. I feel like that's been my biggest takeaway. And generally, this, it's the Moses calling, but God generally calls us to do things that are beyond our reach. What we can't do it in and of ourselves. We need Him, and it can be easy to take that thing we're doing for Him and make it about me. Sometimes I'm not happy with His timing. I'd rather it be done quicker than later on. Sometimes I'm not happy with how it looks because I pictured it one way in my mind, but it's His, so it turns out the way He wants it to turn out. And then sometimes for me, I've felt really insecure along this way. What you're calling me to do, God, feels like it's way beyond what I could do. And so I very much have told God at times, hey, pick somebody else. But it's easy to make it about me. And even at times when things are going good, that quote, you can live for the applause, but if you live for the applause of man, when they don't applaud you, you're going to die by that too. And so sometimes it's easy to make it about me and my talent and my gift and my ability and less about Him. So I find myself, especially over these, first 5 years, trying to build a discipline of every day going to His feet and reminding myself that no matter what's in my hands, so the three things I pray for as a husband, as a father, and as a minister, it is all about Him at the end of the day. I cannot make it about me. So when I'm frustrated with timing, refix my eyes on Him. I'm frustrated with how it looks, refix my eyes on Him.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm thinking it's all about me, fix my eyes on Him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest lesson.
I always think of Jesus, and one day in one week they were saying Hosanna, and then just a couple of days later, the same group of people were saying crucify him. So I think there's a lot of highs and lows in ministry for sure. What's one thing you wish you know 5 years in? What's one thing you wish you knew then that you know now?
I really wish I would have paid attention more to the fact that um, this is a process. So I felt called to ministry when I was younger, probably around it was either 12 or 13 years old. I was at a conference. God, I felt like was speaking to me. You're going to go into ministry, and you think of the end goal, but you don't think of the process of getting there. And again, I'll liken it to Moses. Moses is called, but then he has to go after he fights God about it. He finally does it. Now he has to go get the people out of Egypt. Pharaoh gives him a hard time. And then he gets them out of Egypt, and now they're in the wilderness. And then they go out of the wilderness. Oh, and by the way, the promised land they're called to, there's people they got to conquer there. I didn't think as much about process as I did about, I just want it to be what I feel like God has placed in my heart for it to be. And there's processes happening in me. There's process that's happening in the place He's preparing me to go to. And there's process happening in the people around me. And I neglected that so often in the beginning. And it's a temptation to do it now. So I wish in the beginning I would have remembered this is a process. It's not a race, it's a marathon. And enjoy the process.
Mm.
Enjoy the moments God has you in because He's working in you, around you, and where you're going for sure.
Yeah, process is a tough word. It's actually a word I don't always like.
Yeah.
But I find that it's needed in every season of life. So it's funny, you're starting out ministry. I wrapped up 38 years of full-time pastoral ministry, and I find myself in uncharted waters right now, and I feel like I'm in a process, and I'm talking to God about that process, that very thing. So it's like a fresh start, and so some of those same thoughts and emotions are there even all these years later. So I wanna wrap up the call today, and we're gonna have to do a podcast. I got to get a podcast up and running here because it would be kind of cool to dive deep into this, which we don't have time on this platform. But
Love
um,
to.
I just want you to take a minute and just speak to that pastor that's just really struggling, that leader that's just really feeling empty. One thing that the Lord has reminded me in these 4 months of being off of full-time staff is, when we were created, He breathed His breath upon us to give us actual life. The breath of God came into Adam. And I've been praying that very prayer over myself and my ministry, is that God would breathe His breath, His life-giving breath. So sometimes He does that Himself. Sometimes it's through the Word, through worship, through prayer. But sometimes it can be just through, and I'm not putting the heavy on you that you got to breathe into somebody, but you never know, something you might say might really spark in somebody's life. So let's wrap this up. Take a minute and just maybe speak to that person that might be struggling right now.
Yeah, for the person that might be struggling, I'd say two things. The first one may sound cliche, but he who called you, he's faithful. And so whatever God has set in your hands for you to do, and again, it could be any of those things. It could be ministry, leadership, you're a parent, you're a husband. He's faithful if he called you to do it, and he's going to sustain you. And often, maybe at times, if we find ourselves struggling to get to the finish line, we find ourselves wanting to quit, we find ourselves discouraged. Sometimes it could be a sign. It's maybe your spirit man telling you, hey, let's go back, let's be refilled, let's go to the well. And we need to do that daily. So he who called you is faithful. Go back to his feet. And sometimes you've probably had moments like this too. You just sit. Maybe you don't know what to say. Maybe you don't know what to pray, yourself broken and discouraged. Go and sit in his presence and allow that. I think there's a goodness in that where you're just sitting and God can just breathe, because it's hard to sit. It means you're resting. You're not going and working and doing. So sit, be still, and I believe God can breathe into you. And the second thing I would say is just thank you. Thank you so much for what you're doing. What you're doing matters. There was a friend of mine, Daniel Gregory. It was years ago when I first got into ministry, and I admired his shoes. I was like, dude, you got great shoes. And he actually, in the mail 3 weeks later, sent me a pair of new shoes, the shoes that he had, and he tagged a note in there. And that note said, hey, you admire my shoes. I wanted to get you a pair, but I did this more to remind you sometimes ministry can be a thankless job, but what you're doing matters. So I would say to that person that finds themselves discouraged today, what you're doing matters.
Yeah.
The people you're investing in, your marriage, your kids, the things you're leading, they matter, and you're reaching people. And ultimately it's for God, but it's hardest for people. So thank you for what you're doing. Don't stop doing it. God has something that he's doing in you and in others, and it's worth it. The price we're paying is worth it. Thank you for your yes.
Yeah. And if I could just add, remember why you said yes in the beginning, and it wasn't
Yeah.
based on people. And I just want to wrap up here. Ministry can be really isolating. I found myself in seasons of life that was just really, really felt alone. I might have been surrounded by people, but just really felt alone. So as I just want to encourage that person that feels alone, find somebody you can talk to, find a place that's safe,
Yeah.
find a place of kind of refuge where you can just really be honest and share and find somebody that can at least listen to you to process kind of what you're going through. So David, thank you so much for being a part. I know you got to go, and
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. But definitely we'll have to get on a podcast, and
Yes.
enjoy your day tomorrow. Have some ham with your family. We're having turkey at this house. So and just love you and appreciate you. It's been a joy to watch you grow, and we got to do this again sometime. Okay.
Love you too. Thank you so much.
Talk to you later.
See you.